The military history of Israel is as old as the stories etched on the walls of ancient temples and as complex as the region's turbulent political landscape. From the earliest days, the land now known as Israel has been a crossroads of empires, cultures, and religions, each leaving its mark on the military tactics and strategies employed by its inhabitants. The region's geography, nestled at the junction of Africa, Asia, and Europe, made it a strategic prize for invading armies and a crucible for military innovation. This history is not merely a tale of battles and generals, but of the spirit and resilience of a people shaped by conflict. From ancient Canaanite tribes to the modern Israeli defense forces, the area's inhabitants have had to adapt and reinvent military strategies to protect their homeland. This ongoing struggle has forged a national identity that is inherently linked to the principles of defense and survival. Understanding the military history of Israel involves peering into the ancient past, examining the evolving battlefield tactics, and appreciating the socio-political contexts that have defined each era. This essay explores key moments and figures in Israeli military history, highlighting how past conflicts have sculpted the nation's current military posture and strategic outlook. In the 2nd century BCE, the Maban Revolt against the Seleucid Empire marked one of the first instances of organized Jewish military action. Under the leadership of Judah Maccabee, a small, poorly equipped Jewish force challenged a well-established Hellenistic army. This conflict was not just a battle for control, but a profound struggle for religious freedom and cultural survival, which resonated deeply through the ages in Jewish history. The Maccabees employed what is now recognized as guerrilla warfare tactics, using the rugged terrain of Judea to their advantage. They executed surprise attacks, ambushes, and quick retreats, avoiding open confrontations with larger enemy forces. This approach allowed the significantly outnumbered Maccabean forces to wear down their adversaries and achieve remarkable victories, such as the recapture of the Temple in Jerusalem. The legacy of the Maccabean Revolt extends far beyond its military successes. It instilled a sense of resilience and the possibility of victory against overwhelming odds. This historical episode became a symbol of hope and courage for the Jewish people, themes that recur throughout Israeli military history. Following the Maccabean Revolt, the region remained a focal point of Hellenistic military ambitions. The Hellenistic Wars saw various successor states of Alexander the Great's empire clashing over the control of the land of Israel. These conflicts tested the military acumen and strategic thinking of local leaders, who were often forced to navigate alliances and rivalries with larger powers. During this period, fortifications and siege warfare became increasingly sophisticated. The construction of massive fortresses like Masada and the use of advanced siege technologies by the Hellenistic armies demonstrated the strategic importance of the region. Jewish leaders had to continuously adapt to the evolving military technologies and strategies brought in by foreign rulers. The resilience of the Jewish population during the Hellenistic Wars was notable. Despite being caught between the power struggles of the Diadochi, the local population managed to preserve their cultural identity and autonomy by leveraging their geographic knowledge and diplomatic acumen. This era laid the groundwork for a distinct military thinking focused on survival and adaptation. The Jewish-Roman Wars from 66 to 136 CE represent one of the most dramatic and consequential periods in Jewish military history. The First Jewish-Roman War, culminating in the destruction of Jerusalem and the Second Temple in 70 CE, showcased the fierce resistance of the Jewish fighters against one of the mightiest military machines of the ancient world, the Roman legions. The siege of Jerusalem and the subsequent fall of Masada highlighted both the bravery and the desperation of the Jewish defenders. Employing complex defensive tactics and making extensive use of their fortified cities, Jewish fighters managed to hold off the Roman advances longer than many had anticipated. These events left a profound mark on the Jewish cultural and religious identity, commemorating the struggle for freedom against a vastly superior force. However, the Bar Kokhba revolt, from 132 to 136 CE, often seen as a continuation of the struggle against Roman dominance, ended in tragedy and massive loss of life. The aftermath led to significant diaspora and a reconfiguration of Jewish life and practices. The resilience and tactical ingenuity displayed during these wars, however, continued to inspire Jewish military thought in the centuries that followed. The Middle Ages were a relatively quieter period in the military history of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. Under various Islamic and Christian rulers, the Jewish population often faced restrictions and at times persecution, which limited their opportunities for military engagement. However, this period was not without its significance for the development of Jewish military thought. During this era, Jewish communities in the Holy Land and throughout the diaspora focused more on communal resilience and adaptation rather than direct military confrontation. The emphasis was on maintaining cultural and religious identity in the face of external pressures and often hostile environments. This adaptive strategy was crucial for survival, particularly during the Crusades, which brought new waves of conflict to the region. The experiences of the Middle Ages also underscored the importance of alliances and understanding the political landscapes. Jewish leaders became adept at navigating the complexities of life under foreign domination, learning when to resist and when to accommodate. These lessons in diplomacy and strategic patience would later influence Zionist leaders in their quest for a Jewish state. The Ottoman Empire's control over the land of Israel from 1517 to 1917 marked a long period of dormancy in Jewish military history in the region. The Ottomans implemented a system of governance that largely repressed local militarism, focusing instead on centralized control. However, this era was also a time of cultural and communal development for the Jewish communities in the area. The relative stability under the Ottomans allowed Jewish communities to grow demographically and strengthen culturally. This period saw the rise of significant Jewish centers of learning in cities like Safed and Jerusalem, which became hubs of religious and philosophical thought. While direct military engagement was rare, the foundations for political and social organization were being laid. Towards the end of the Ottoman era, as the empire began to decline, new nationalist ideas began to permeate through the Jewish communities. Influenced by the broader nationalist movements in Europe, these ideas eventually contributed to the Zionist ideology, which included notions of self-defense and the re-establishment of a Jewish homeland. Thus, the Ottoman period, while militarily quiet, set the stage for the dramatic changes that would follow in the 20th century. The British Mandate period from 1917 to 1948 was critical in shaping the modern military landscape of Israel. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 and subsequent British policies facilitated the return of thousands of Jews to their historical homeland, but also set the stage for increasing tensions with the Arab population. This period saw the rise of both Jewish and Arab nationalist movements, each preparing for the inevitability of conflict. During the Mandate, various Jewish underground militias, such as the Haganah, Irgun, and Lehi, were formed. These groups were initially created for self-defense against Arab attacks, but later also directed actions against British authorities. Their operations ranged from guerrilla warfare to organized military training, laying the groundwork for a future independent state's military. The skills and organizational structures developed during this period were instrumental in the establishment of the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, in 1948. The transition from underground militias to a unified national military was a testament to the strategic foresight of the Zionist leaders and their commitment to creating a viable, defendable state. The War of Independence, spanning from 1948 to 1949, and also known as the Arab-Israeli War, immediately followed the declaration of the State of Israel on May 14, 1948. This conflict pitted the new state against a coalition of Arab nations determined to quash the nascent Jewish state. The survival of Israel during this period was not assured, and the stakes could not have been higher. The IDF, newly formed from the ranks of the pre-state militias, was tested under fire. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Israeli forces managed to not only survive but also expand their control over territory allotted by the United Nations Partition Plan. This was achieved through a combination of innovative tactics, mobilization of the entire Jewish population, and strategic international alliances. The victory in the War of Independence is often seen as a miraculous event in Israeli history, embodying the culmination of 2,000 years of Jewish yearning for a return to their homeland. The war also set the stage for future conflicts in the region, establishing a pattern of military readiness and innovation that characterizes the IDF to this day. The SixDay War in 1967 was a pivotal moment in Israeli military history. demonstrating the efficacy of preemptive strikes and superior strategic planning. Faced with the mobilization of Egyptian, Jordanian, and Syrian forces, Israel launched a surprise attack that decimated the Egyptian Air Force on the ground, fundamentally shifting the balance of power in the Middle East. Over the course of 6 days, Israeli forces achieved a stunning series of victories, capturing the Sinai Peninsula, West Bank, and Golan Heights. The speed and decisiveness of the campaign stunned the world and reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the region. It also significantly boosted the national morale and global standing of Israel. The Six-Day War exemplified the importance of intelligence, air superiority, and rapid, flexible response to emerging threats. These principles have since become central to IDF doctrine. The war also had profound implications for Israeli society and the Middle East, setting the stage for ongoing conflict, but also opening new possibilities for negotiation. The Yom Kippur War of 1973 was a stark reminder of the challenges facing Israel. The surprise attack by Egypt and Syria on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar resulted in initial losses for Israel and a significant psychological shock. The war tested the resilience and adaptability of the Israeli military and society in the face of unexpected adversity. Despite being caught off guard, the IDF quickly mobilized and eventually repelled the invading forces, employing combined arms tactics and improving their lines of communication. The war underscored the necessity for constant vigilance and preparedness, leading to major reforms in military strategy and intelligence gathering. The aftermath of the Yom Kippur War also led to a strategic reassessment within Israel, resulting in the eventual peace treaty with Egypt. This conflict thus not only tested Israel's military resilience, but also demonstrated the complexity of security and peace in the Middle East. The lessons learned from this war continue to influence Israeli military and political strategies. Israel's military history, from ancient times to modern conflicts, is a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of its people. Each period, from the Maban Revolt to the Yom Kippur War, reflects a cycle of challenge and response that has shaped the national character and strategic posture of the State of Israel. The legacy of these conflicts and the lessons they provide are integral to understanding Israel's current security environment and its future military strategies. The spirit of adaptation and innovation seen throughout the centuries continues to define the Israeli Defense Forces. As new challenges arise, the historical lessons of resilience, strategic planning, and unity are more relevant than ever. Israel's military history is not just a record of battles, it is a narrative of a people's continuous struggle for survival and sovereignty. As we look to the future, the enduring legacy of Israel's military past serves as both a guide and a warning. It underscores the importance of preparedness, the value of peace, and the continuous need for a strategic and moral approach to defense. This historical understanding enriches the ongoing dialogue about security, peace, and the nature of warfare in the modern world.